it's going to be, replicated. I don't think it'll be exactly the same, so fans can expect some different nuances to it, but it'll be a full packed event for fans and families to come enjoy for sure.
Welcome to episode 250 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. Despite our best efforts to keep it away, winter has made its first appearance in our province this year, and with it, the unofficial end of the baseball season. Although it's still impressive to see how many programs are working through it on the field when it's a little warmer and drier, and off the field in the variety of facilities we have in Alberta. It again proves one of my points from last week about how we have come light years from where we were as a province only a decade or two ago. On to the headlines this week, and some big ones out of the Western Canadian Baseball League. The first is that the Okotoks Dogs will once again host the league's All-Star Game in 2024. It's been a smashing success the last couple of seasons, and the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Our Ian Wilson was at Wednesday's news conference and will bring us a handful of interviews in a few minutes, including some questions and answers around the process of selecting a location, as we know that a few fans in other markets are chomping at the bit to host the Midsummer Classic. Also from the WCBL, the Edmonton Prospects will be back for the 2024 season, although it likely won't be in Spruce Grove as hoped. The team has announced that despite its best efforts, several challenges regarding material deliveries have pushed back construction on MyShack Metro Ballpark. Prospects owner Pat Cassidy says they're looking to call Sherwood Park home for some or all of the schedule, saying they needed to come up with a contingency plan. You can read our full story at albertadugoutstories.com. A big congratulations to the Sylvan Lake Gulls on winning the visitor-friendly award by the Sylvan Lake Chamber of Commerce. That award ceremony happened over the weekend, with the team saying the award isn't possible without the fans and that they are incredibly proud to be part of the Sylvan Lake community. The coaching announcements have been coming in droves the last few days. Dogs Academy is bringing a couple of familiar faces back into the fold, with Noah Geeky and Matt Wilkinson coming back to lend their experience and expertise, as well as grad Brett Platts returning as strength and conditioning coach after spending last year with the Chicago Cubs organization. Elsewhere, Weber Academy has hired UBC grad and former Lethbridge Bulls catcher Noah Orr. And finally, to continue a trend we started last week, we have a trio of college commitment announcements to share. AHP Academy's Jack Jewell is heading to Barton Community College. Vauxhall Academy's Jacob Burgess is going to the University of Mary. And Dogs Academy's Robert Scalzo will be heading to the University of Utah in 2025. On to this week's guests, and as mentioned, our Ian Wilson was in Okotoks on Wednesday afternoon for the WCBL's announcement that the league's All-Star Game is heading back to Okotoks in 2024 after very successful ventures the last two seasons. Now, I did write an op-ed for ADS right after the 2023 game saying that the big first question was going to be about the location. As great as Okotoks has been, I wondered whether other teams would throw their hats in the ring. When asking different organizations during that All-Star Game, I got the sense there was interest, but no one seemed pot committed to the idea, at least at that point. I had my bets on maybe Medicine Hat, but it all depended on if they or anyone else would actually put in a bid. We and many fans wanted answers, so Ian went right to the source on Wednesday, and that's League President Kevin Kavami.
Kevin, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. To return to Okotoks for the 2024 WCBL All-Star Game, just tell me about the announcement today and why the return to Okotoks.
Well, I think, we starting to identify a bid process, and it's going to take, some significant planning for the other teams in the league to put a bid together that is going to be able to do justice to the All-Star Game. And I do believe there are teams out there that will be doing it in the future. Many of them, I think, gave it a try this time, but aren't quite there yet. But they are close. Mm-hmm. And we do want to move it around. But at this point in time, keeping it here is, I don't know the word is safe solution, but it is definitely an easy solution because we know the job that they'll do and we know it'll be done well. And I think the other piece to it, with Mark Stiles being hired as our Director of Corporate Sponsorship and Marketing, him being in this area is critical too, that I think we want to build up those corporate sponsors for the game that has never been done before, and it's easier to do it here than it is to do it elsewhere at this point in time. Not saying that it won't be once you get the gears up and running, it runs a lot, and then you can mix and match where you're going to put it in the future.
Walk me through that bid process a little bit more, if you can. How many teams were interested, and at what point was it determined that it really made a lot of sense to have Okotoks do it again?
Yeah, as I said to the media, I'm not going to disclose the number of bids or that kind of thing at this point, but the Strategic Planning Committee of the WCBL, and that's chaired by Graham Schetzel of the Sylvan Lake Gulls, created a bid process with an RFP that outlined what the expectations of all the teams were, and what the league would do and what the teams would do, and what the league had rights to and what the team had rights to. And so we threw that out in September, and the deadline was October 15th. And after October 15th, I can tell you that there was only one bid that checked all the boxes. And I think some teams were hoping that, maybe that there would be no teams that checked all the boxes and they would get to do it a little bit lesser than what the expectation was. That wasn't the case, and it became a fairly easy decision to go with Okotoks. And to that point, those teams that are not going to check all the boxes need to know that that's going to be an expectation moving forward, and I think they'll be able to do it. I think it was a short timeline for some of them, and that's why either they chose not to bid or ask questions about the bid that they couldn't adhere to.
The Dogs have done just an outstanding job with the event the last 2 years, 6,000 fans at each of the last games. I haven't really heard a bad word about either of the games, which creates high expectations. Can you maybe talk a little bit about just the excitement of having it back here and knowing, having that certainty of what you can expect?
Yeah, I think that they're going to, John has very high expectations. He's very demanding of his staff and his team, and that expectation is that they will do a good job. And so there's no worries there about that. They're going to do a first-class job, as we would expect any team to do, but we know that they have a track record of doing that, and the other teams in the league are going to have to continue to catch up, and whether they catch them in the championship series or they catch them before that or catch them by taking on an all-star game, it's definitely a good thing to have somebody leading the way and showing the way that other teams can be successful.
Can you discuss any of the finances of the event? Is this something where the league as a whole benefits? I think there's a payment involved for hosting. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's first of all there's two facets to the league benefiting from this. I guess three. One is the marketing end of things, which is you don't know how much value that has with the game itself and the broadcast of the game and the impact that it has with the players and that around North America. That's a number tough to nail down. The second thing is there is a fee to the league from the Dogs, and that does help all the teams in the league with the All-Star game. And the third thing is we have marketable properties as the league that are part of the All-Star game, i.e. the league retains naming rights to the game. And conveniently, along with that, we hired a director of corporate sponsorship and marketing. So his job is to make sure we have a name for that All-Star game soon. And that will generate more revenue for the league. So it's all a package that works well. And then the Dogs, they benefit from the ticket sales and that, but they have a lot of burden of the costs too. Like they get a house, feed, and get the players all here, and they have gifts. John's very particular that he wants celebrity guest as part of the All-Star festivities. He makes sure that people that have been critical to baseball in Alberta or the Okotoks Dogs growth are invited to the game and represented. The league has used it as a venue to recognize past people, and we know that it's going to be an A1 job. So it's a good share, is all I can tell you.
We've talked a lot about everything around the game, the game and the festivities itself. Any discussion of turning it into a 2-day event? Is there anything on the field that might look a little different, or do we have to wait for further announcements on that?
I think 2025 is 2020. Sorry, what year are we in? 2024 is going to be pretty much lock and loaded, the same rinse and repeat type of thing. There might be a couple of surprises, but I expect the format to be pretty much the same on Saturday, July 20th. The league has floated the idea about doing the All-Star game similar to Major League Baseball on a Monday and Tuesday, but we're not ready to move to that point yet.
And then last question, I think it's the last question. We'll see what pops up into my head. But what about the feedback that you've received from the last 2 events, All-Star events here? What have you heard from other teams, fans, just from around the league?
Let's start with the players. Yeah. The All-Star players themselves, we have heard nothing but positive remarks from them. I don't think I've heard one negative comment about the All-Star game from any of the players that have participated in it. There is a little bit of grumbling around the league, sometimes about taking a Saturday and using it for an All-Star game, that it takes that away from the whole league. You can have 6 games on a Saturday rather than 1. So that is a little bit of a concern, which is why the Monday-Tuesday thing comes up. But that has, right now, that hasn't been a big enough of a concern to be brought up at the governor's level. So it just is chatter in the background as far as I'm concerned.
And what's next for league announcements? Is there anything we can expect on deck that's coming, or sit tight?
Well, I hope the schedule hopefully will be announced here in the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. It'll be our earliest ever of a schedule. And then, hopefully, there's going to be some big partnerships that are announced in the coming months leading up to the season. And then, of course, all the teams have their player signings and their special games and everything that they're lining up. So I think lots of good news. And, I do think that the awards are going to be announced here right during the World Series as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time, Kevin.
Anytime, Ian.
Up next is WCBL Managing Director of Corporate Sponsorships and Marketing, Mark Stiles. He was hired on just before the last All-Star Game and believes there will be several opportunities to really do it right in Okotoks this time around.
All right, Mark, 2024 All-Star Game in Okotoks. First off, just your initial response to that announcement today.
I think it's great, Ian, is what I think. As Kevin Kavami pointed out, or Tyler, or both, new process this year with the league in terms of teams can bid and want to have it or not want to have it. And the new process was played out. And I think every league member would be very happy that it's in Okotoks. Eventually, I think you're going to see the game move around. But look, the Dogs have, excuse the baseball metaphor, knocked it out of the park, time after time. It's the best collegiate baseball stadium in all of North America, so the league is thrilled to have it here for multiple reasons.
You were at the game this summer. You're tasked now with finding some partners and sponsors for the event. Walk me through as much as you can about that process and how easy or difficult it will be with an event and a venue like this.
Well, for the All-Star Game specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. So you will notice if things play out the way, Ian, that the league and the Dogs would like to see it play out. If you came to the game last year and oh my gosh, 6,000 people, beautiful night, fireworks, mat stairs, it was fabulous. I mean, you don't even have to be a baseball fan to understand it was fabulous. But what you will see this year is you're going to see more. If you go to a Major League Baseball All-Star Game, it's going to be the Major League Baseball All-Star Game brought to you by someone. Mm-hmm. So that would be the goal here. The WCBL All-Star Game is brought to you by. The Home Run Derby is brought to you by. And just more league participation in the game, working hand in hand, stride by stride with the dogs and the organizing committee.
How is the appetite? You've been in the role, your role now for a few months. Talk to me just about the appetite for being involved with the Western Canadian Baseball League, with baseball at this level. What are you seeing? What can you share with us about just the interest in the game?
Strong interest. What I'm seeing and hearing is, and I don't think you'll be. Matter of fact, for you, Ian, for your readers, this might surprise you, but for you, it won't surprise you. What I'm seeing is 12 teams. League is on the grow, which not every league can say they're on the grow. Every league has their strengths or whatever, like we do. But this is a league that is on the grow. 12 teams coming up. Attendance was up like 21% in the last 3 years. So that's exciting. But to answer your question direct, if you were to survey a Regina Red Sox fan or a Fort McMurray Giants fan and said, hey, what league does Fort McMurray play in? They're hard pressed to answer the question. So the league needs to pound its chest a little bit and say, we are the Western Canadian Baseball League. If you ask someone in Brooks or Fort McMurray what league their Alberta Junior Hockey League team is in, they're going to say, oh, they play in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. So we need a little more league presence. But, you know, the teams are doing well, the league's on the grow, and there's nothing but exciting things ahead, to say the least.
From an Okotoks perspective, General Manager Tyler Hollick says it will once again be a huge undertaking to try to beat the experiences of 2022 and 2023, but he believes his team is up to the challenge.
Tyler, 2024 Western Canadian Baseball League All-Star Game coming back to Okotoks. What's the initial response and feeling about taking on the game again next summer?
It's a big undertaking. I think there was a little hidden tone in that question for sure. But we're excited. I mean, for the community, we had a counselor from the town of Okotoks here today, other members of the municipality. It's exciting. I think there's kind of a buzz around the event. It's been awesome success the last 2 years. The weather's been awesome, but just led by John and the All-Star Game chairman, one of our academy coaches, Tyler Milton, has done an unbelievable job just kind of tying in that pregame show with the home run derby, with the event itself, fireworks, musical entertainment, like celebrity guests, the whole thing where it's going to be replicated. I don't think it'll be exactly the same, so fans can expect some different nuances to it, but it'll be a full packed event for fans and families to come enjoy for sure.
You teased us a bit there. Is there any further details you can spill on how the game or the event might look a little different, or is that to be announced?
Yeah, that's to be announced. I'm not holding back on you, I promise. I'm not. We're still trying to figure it out. We're going through the process of kind of just getting that whole map of what we want the day to look like, and getting some feedback from our fans and from John and from the rest of the staff to kind of say, okay, what did we do really well last year? Let's double down on that. What do fans want to see? Let's continue to do that stuff as well. So nothing to announce yet, but we're still looking at some potential baseball celebrities to come in, some musical entertainment. The pregame show will be back. I know that was a huge hit last year, and the fireworks I thought was the best we've ever had. So it'll be very similar in structure, but we're hoping to add some differences in the event.
How much work goes into an event like this? Like, I think when people show up, everything just happens and there it is, and it's easy to not think about the behind the scenes. Can you peel back the curtain a little bit there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of work goes into the dogs. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, it's full-time, year-round, it's full go. And if anybody's ever met John Arcandia, there is a passion to get it right and you know, make it perfect for the community and for the fans and for our players and for the dogs to represent well in the town of Okotoks. So, you know, it does help that it is a baseball event. So we are, you know, there are some things that we're checking off that we want to include in the All-Star Game that we do want to bring into the 2024 season. So we are, you know, rapidly preparing for that. Although it's the end of October, we feel like the season's right around the corner, and there's a lot of things that we really want to and will accomplish in the off season. So it's full go. We are already planning the All-Star Game, and with that we're planning our season and promotional nights and concessions and fan engagement and just overall experience for our fans and our community.
one of the things the dogs do really well is I feel like you come to the ballpark each summer. It's not going to be the same ballpark as last summer. There's going to be some changes. We saw that with the Golden Sombrero Cantina last year, the VW van, the beach bar there, things like that. What plans are in the works for next season? What can fans look forward to seeing at Siemens Stadium?
Yeah, maybe some of the biggest renovations we've had. It is probably since Core 4 was built, at the extension of our left field corner, that two-tier hospitality center. If you haven't been there, it's unbelievable. Anybody that's wanting to go. But next year we're introducing 3 major infrastructure changes. So we're adding section 115, which will be extension of our first base side, right over the ever popular Dogs Home dugout. With that, we'll add about 150 seats, and then 2 field level suites. So they can be booked out privately, they can book out as a group or individually for anybody that wants to experience a game at the dugout level. Secondly, we are adding an extension to our Core 4 corner, so it'll basically be it's essentially renovated sea cans with 2 infant suites, and then on top of it is like a kind of a play on of the Yankee Stadium bleacher creatures, where it's going to be an elevated padded bleacher covered, and it'll kind of give a new look and a new angle for fans, and both those are not necessarily additions to the capacity. The capacity will stay the same, just offering fans a relocation option that want a more elevated experience. And then in left center field, we're adding a 5 by 80 foot long ribbon high definition video board. So really cool for fan engagement opportunities. We can do trivia in certain games on there, and some stats and stuff like that, and also a really good opportunity for local businesses to promote their branding and messaging to 4,500 people a night. So yeah.
Do you catch yourself looking out at the stadium on certain days and being like, I can't believe this, like what you guys have been able to build and continue to build for the years? Yeah, and
John pushes it for sure in terms of the passion, and the precedent's been set that it's all in, and you want to do everything you can to try and make it as good as it possibly can. I feel incredibly fortunate the opportunity that I've got to even play in the program, come back in my off season and playing professionally and coach. And then 2 days after I was released, I called John asking for a job to coach in the academy, and later named GM. And I've now been a part of this program longer than I haven't, and this is going into my 18th consecutive year of doing something with the dogs. It's very rare where I take a day for granted. I joke with people that I get to speed to work, and I work with some of my best friends, and I get to do the coolest project in the world. And it's pretty cool that you can walk out to a September 15th fall practice or a July 1st home game, and you get to look at, and this is kind of your office. Like, this is what you get to call home every day, and where I've essentially grown up. And it's a really neat experience for fans, and it's extremely personal and special to me. So.
What's it like to be able to share that with the league in an event like the All-Star Game? Because it's, a lot through the season, it's all for the Dogs fans, all for Okotoks and the people at the game. But with an event like that, it really is, hey, this is for everyone in the league. Yeah,
I mean, we are proud to represent the WCBL and to be, frank, it's the flagship franchise and continue to lead what the WCBL is doing. But the WCBL is growing, and it's growing really quickly. There's some new ballparks have been added and being added to the league. We just hired a director of corporate partnerships and marketing for the league, Mark Stiles, with a ton of experience. It is Canada's premier collegiate summer league, and we have a lot to celebrate, and this is the All-Star Game is a celebration of the Dogs in the town of Okotoks, but it's also a really cool opportunity for the league to really celebrate what it's all about and what it has to offer. Not just in Okotoks, not just with the Dogs, but in Saskatoon with our new franchise, Edmonton's new ballpark, what Sylvan Lake and Lethbridge are doing, and all the great franchises in Saskatchewan and it just goes on and on and on, and it's not just a kitchen table league. It's it's a lot of these guys are getting drafted to go play in professional baseball. A lot of these guys are high-end Division I players, some of the best amateur players in the world that are coming right to small towns in Alberta and Saskatchewan to come play and spend their summer. So extremely fortunate to be able to continue to promote that messaging and really just celebrate the WCBL and how fast and how strong it's growing into a legitimate high-level college summer league.
Tyler, thanks for your time today. Congratulations on the announcement, and really looking forward to seeing you next summer.
Awesome.
And finally, Lou Pote was in the dugout as the West Division head coach in 2023 and believes the All-Star Game is a special experience for everyone involved. Here's his conversation with Ian.
Lou, you're throughout your career, you've played in All-Star Games before. You were in the dugout last year for the 2023 Western Canadian Baseball League All-Star Game. I guess first off, just walk me through what that experience was like last year.
I was, from the year before, being in stands, just watching as a fan, to be able to get down in the dugout, that's my preference, being, in the dugout with the boys and just seeing, their reaction to how excited they are, because a lot of times it's their first experience with that, whether they've been in college being named all conference or something, being able to go represent your city in an all-star game is, I don't care what level it is, it's always a special experience and an experience that the guys are always going to remember. So to be able to be a part of it and be in the dugout and see those emotions, from different guys that you're playing against all year is really cool.
It really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's they don't have those. Like I know they'll have some maybe high school all-star games at the after their high school seasons are over, and maybe some college showcases. But to have a league-wide where you're recognized for your performance in the first part of the season, and you're selected from you're nominated by your coach, but you're also selected from opposing coaches. It's a special experience because you work hard to get these opportunities and to be able to do it in a summer, and then go back home and showcase our league by bragging about the experience, and that's what it's all about, and that's what helps this league grow and our community experience with Okotoks with the dogs. It just makes it a lot easier if it wasn't already easy to get guys to come here.
Talk a little bit about the fan experience. There was over 6,000 fans here last year and previously at the All-Star Games. What kind of opportunities do you get with this game that you might not get in a regular season game in terms of engaging with the fans, whether it's signing autographs or what have you?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we talk about once we get the guys here. Just enjoy the experience. Go out of your way to talk to the fans. It's a show, right? And that's what we want. We want them to go out, put on a show, be themselves. Express their personality. As good as they can. And if it's very eccentric, then all for it. That's what this is all about. So, sign autographs and, a lot of, depending on where they're playing, sometimes, they don't play in front of, big crowds or have that opportunity like our guys have here and, and especially in our division, have fun with it, man. This one of the best things about being a ball player is signing an autograph. So the more, when you can sign 100 one night, it's awesome. So just eat it up and enjoy it, and just remember, because it's only like you said, it's a once in a lifetime experience sometimes.
When you heard the news that Okotoks is going to be hosting it yet again, what's the reaction to that?
It just feels fitting. Feels fitting, man. I mean, we've had Tyler and our front office staff have done an unbelievable job, with us, and John allows us to make it as big as we can, and it's awesome. So I feel like it's fitting to have it here, and this town, the way they support it and they come out, and it's a weekend event, it feels like, and it's just an awesome experience, and I feel like it's just meant to be here.
Any specific memories for you last year? Anything that stands out from either the Derby or the game itself?
Just the emotions of, like guys going in the home run derby and they see, the wiping the towel off, getting them the Gatorade, and they just, like, that was really fun. Like, and just getting, like, for me as a coach now, and I just remember looking back at some of, like, my experiences, was just getting to know the players you're playing against and you're coaching against. But for me, that's really cool. But I thought the home run derby and, just guys eating it up with the Gatorade and the towel and timeout and stuff like that. That's awesome to see, and because they see it on TV, and you're a little kid when you're out there.
Absolutely. And you've played in All-Star games yourself as a player. Take us back memory lane a bit to that experience. What league, what year, and what was that like?
I think it was 1993, 94. One of those years in the Texas League. I was playing for the Midland Angels. And or actually, my first one was I was playing San Francisco Giants with Shreveport Captains. I made that All-Star League. I was in that league for a while, so I made that twice with two different affiliates. So first one, is just, first of all, it wasn't anything close to this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, way more fans. The atmosphere is way better here in Okotoks than it was in the Texas League All-Star game. My first one was in Wichita, Kansas, as a member of the Shreveport Captains, and then my second one was in 1997. I was a member. I was with the Angels my first year in AA with the Angels, playing for Midland, and it was in Little Rock, Arkansas. And that was a good one. It was just a great experience. Their old-time stadium. So, but the overall atmosphere, it doesn't even compare to the two that I've been a part of here.
And did you get to pitch
I pitched in both of them. The first game in Wichita, I think I gave up one hit, but I think I got 3 outs. I didn't get any strikeouts, but I do remember all 3 outs were very hard hit balls, like right at guys. And then my second one in Little Rock, I started that game. Or no, I didn't. I came in second after one of our teammates, and I pitched really well. I remember I hit Ruben Mateo, and I think he was out for like a month after that. But not on purpose. His pitch got away from me, and but yeah. So that was I was a little bit older, a little bit more relaxed. The first one, I felt like it was the Major League All-Star game, so it was pretty cool.
Do you approach that differently as a pitcher in that event, or is it kind of? I know everyone's like just have fun out there, but you still have to. I didn't. I was trying to get guys out, right? I was like, I was trying to stay locked in and be ready. But and then the second one, I was still trying to get guys out, but I had a lot more fun with that one because it was, I'd been to one before, and it was I was older, a little bit, just more relaxed. I was pretty tense the first one. I think I was only like 20, 21 years old the first time. So. Well, thanks for your time today, and we'll see you next summer. And in the meantime, we'll see you then.
Awesome.
Thanks again to Kevin Kavami, Mark Stiles, Tyler Hollick, and Lou Pote for joining us this week. And thanks to Ian Wilson for his stellar coverage of the WCBL's announcement. Thanks to all of you as well for downloading and listening. For those who have subscribed, you're in for a treat next week as we will be sitting down with a baseball legend in Alberta and Canada. His family's name has become synonymous with the game, especially in central Alberta. Harold Northcott will join us for a candid conversation about a recent major recognition he received, as well as we'll talk about his baseball journey and how amazing it's been to have it become a family affair for the Northcotts, as his wife Barb, sons Dustin and Chad, and daughter Heidi have all blazed their own paths in the game. You won't want to miss that episode coming up next week. A tip of the cap as well to our Platinum supporters for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. The Okotoks Dogs and AHP Academy have been phenomenal partners, and we just couldn't thank them enough for their generosity and support. For more on our sponsors and to join our roster, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.